This is a venture community interest company in partnership with Frome Medical Practice and Frome Town Council. Some of the projects that we run are housing advice, active travel, health and wellbeing interventions, and also really strong focus on community building and community activity around green and healthy.
FutureShed is about providing a meet-up space. It also provides training, coaching, workshops to enable the community to gather and initiate and do things that they really want to do, that kind of follow people's interests, and to think about how climate and health are really connected. So, for example, we focus on textile reuse, food, well-being, retrofit and recycling. And we have 4 groups at the moment in residence: Frome Food Network, Everyone Needs Pockets Textile Reuse Network, Frome Families for the Future, and the Frome Seed Library.
Frome Medical Practice has got one of the largest patient lists in the country. So the medical practice goes out into the community, talks to people face to face and gets them talking and understanding about the link between their own health and the health of the planet and the environment. And the main project we've had up to now has been about reducing the number of prescribed classic blue puffer inhaler. And instead we were prescribing a much lower carbon inhaler called dry powder inhalers.
We've worked hard with the council to promote healthy homes, and we have been able to target messages about the support available for insulating our homes to those who are most at risk medically from poor housing. We've been able to target our advice around plant-based diets and eating whole fresh food to those that would benefit from that. And having the garden here, being able to grow our own food, has been a real talking point to understand the benefits of the more sustainable lifestyle.
There's a really clear link between the temperature that we can achieve in our homes and our physical and mental health. So we want to show people how it's possible to make their homes warmer and healthier, and to be able to tackle conditions like condensation and damp and mould. And so what I'm doing is to carry out a full survey and write a really detailed assessment, suggesting methods starting with simple maintenance and building up to installing insulation, maybe renewing windows, and perhaps even a heat pump and other renewable energies. Because I'm able to offer this report for free, there's no barrier to people starting that first step.
Cycle Together is a free e-bike loan for a month. Participants also get 4 hours of cycle confidence classes alongside. Cycling is a brilliant way to get around. It's so good for your mental and your physical health. It's a great way to connect with nature. It's a great way to build community and meet other people, and it's really cheap. And then visibly for the community, fewer cars on the road mean cleaner air, less congestion and safer roads for travelling along.
We want to get people down to the river so they can form a relationship with it, and also want to protect it and the wildlife that resides there. So we're doing that through building steps down to the river so people can get in, have a paddle. We're also doing some events to raise awareness. We know that spending time in green spaces helps people feel happier and healthier, but as well as that, protecting and restoring the river is going to prevent drought, reduce flooding and encourage more wildlife onto the river.
I'm mending my clothes in public today as a volunteer to highlight the Stitch It, Don't Ditch It movement. We meet every few weeks and we try to swap our clothes, excess fabrics that we have, and just chat about how we can influence the people in Frome to look after their clothes.
And we're giving away free mending kits as well to encourage people to mend their clothes rather than just get rid of them, because a lot of clothes that are given to charity shops either end up as rags or sometimes they end up in landfill as well. I think it's hugely important for health and well-being. I get a huge buzz out of knowing that anything that I mend is not going to landfill.
The project that we have just done today is how to mend your clothes. We're primarily for people who can't afford to get their clothes fixed, or can't afford to go to sewing lessons, or haven't the confidence to go to sewing lessons. It's so rewarding to sit down with somebody and show them how to mend the holes in their jumpers or how to sew up a broken seam, and to see them going away with pride that they've been able to do this.
What we're doing is actually a really great way to release a lot of stress and emotions, because you're mending something that means something to you. You're interacting with people, you're not putting more resources into a brand new jumper, you're just putting a tiny bit of resource into fixing the jumper you already have.
Today is our first ever clothes swap. By swapping clothes, we're reducing all the waste that goes to landfill, we're reducing our carbon and water footprint, and also coming to clothes swaps, I think it allows people to be more adventurous with their clothing choices.
I didn't used to know how huge the impact of fast fashion is, but it just feels lovely to come to a place where you can try stuff you wouldn't usually wear, and it's just a great, fun, social event.
My advice would be, if you're wanting to do a sort of relatively complex project like the one that Green and Healthy Frome is that you think really carefully at the beginning about how do you structure governance, how do you structure communication, how do you make the best of the strengths of the partnership, and also when you're designing a project, think about how are you going to evaluate it, because actually if you can build that in from day one, it really helps you to be able to kind of showcase the effectiveness of what you're doing further down the line.
Being able to collect good data is really key, because that enables you to focus your efforts where it really matters and to share with others what your successes are. And I would say another way is to engage your local NHS organisations. They have a large infrastructure there that you can access to enable the maximum amount of impact.
There are a lot of barriers between people receiving the report and being able to move forwards with that. One of the things that I'm hoping to introduce to mitigate those problems is a retrofit hub for people engaged in their own retrofit projects, and also architects, surveyors, building professionals, so that we can bring those people together, share information and help to sort of move the process forwards. So it's that personalising of information and making human connections, which I think people want more than being directed towards a website.
If you're thinking of setting up a scheme like Cycle Together, I would say one of the most important things is to work out where you're going to store the e-bikes. They need a safe, secure storage space. They also need to be serviced regularly between loans, so having a team of mechanics and also a team of cycle instructors to teach cycle confidence classes during the loan.
One of the biggest problems is getting your project known, and you can only do that by going out and talking to people.
I think in the first energy advice drop-in that we did in the middle of the high street, it was really hard to kind of drag people in to talk to us. So now we're in the same location every month, people know where we are, and we've gone from having 1 or 2 people drop in to maybe 15 over the course of a session. So I think stick with it as well, because people need time to learn about what you're doing.
I'm always looking for who's not at the table, who's not present, who's missing from the conversation. So if we do specific outreach to some of the groups in Frome who might not have heard of us, or they don't know how to connect. For example, the Textile Reuse Network started with just 2 people at a table, and then gradually word spread, and now we've got over 200 people in that network.